All right, so we are having a very special broadcast today. We are on location at Tequila 512 with my friend Scott Willis, and we're going to go over how to start a food and beverage business in Austin. Join us in just a second as we dive in. All right, we're back. So I'm joined today, as always, with Matt Edwards, and I have here Scott Willis, one of my good friends and neighbors, who is the founder and owner of Tequila 512 in Austin. And very interesting story. If you're not familiar with the restaurant or bar scene, if you go anywhere in Austin, practically every place has Tequila 512 in it. And we want to know, how do you start a food and beverage business in Austin? What were you doing when you first started, and how did this come about? Tell us your story.
Well, first off, thanks for having me. I was actually originally came to Austin to be in the music business. So I moved down here to be in the business side of it. I don't play an instrument, as you probably know. And I can't sing, as you probably know also.
Yes.
But came down here to be in the music business. And after trying that out for a little while, I realized I needed to get a real job. So I got a job at Dell Computers, followed by Apple Computers. So in the technology world, figuring out what to do here in Austin at the time. That's what everyone did.
Yeah.
And read an article about Tito. So at the time, this was 11, 12 years ago, and Tito wasn't as big as he is now, but still at the time was already big in my mind.
Sure.
Read an article about Tito and said, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what I came here to do, is be in the spirits business. So started down that road, started researching the spirits world. Didn't come from that business at all. Didn't come from that industry. Never been a bartender. Never been a waiter even, and I had to learn a lot, obviously. So I had to learn the business side of it and learn what I wanted to do as far as spirits goes. And tequila is what I settled on. It's what I was drinking, what I was passionate about.
Oh, why? So why? Because you just liked it?
So I met a lot of people in the business, and everyone said, do something in the spirits world you're passionate about for two reasons. Number one, because people will eventually find out. So you got to be true to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Number two, because if it fails, you'll have a lot of it left over to drink.
Yeah.
So I thought, what do I drink?
Yeah.
So I was really drinking a lot of tequila at the time, and said, still am, obviously,
Yeah.
and said, I want to do that. But I knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
So I really worked from, a completely point of zero to having to catch up to where I am now, and I'm still learning now. But
Sure.
I researched on the internet about books. I eventually found a person on the internet about 12 years ago, 11 years ago, that was trying to connect American business people with distilleries.
Yeah.
And flew down there with my girlfriend, my wife now, Lauren, who you know well, and flew down there and met him at the airport, and we drove around and started visiting distilleries.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Now, when you first started to dive in and do your research, because a lot of people don't know, liquor laws are fairly antiquated and old.
Yeah.
At any time did you kind of say, wait a minute, this may be too much or too much to handle?
No, I'm thinking that now.
Yeah.
No, I tell people all the time, the fact that I didn't come from the business really helped me in the beginning, because if I'd have known better or known the obstacles, I might not have done it. But I didn't really know any better. So I thought, I'll just, like Lauren always says, one foot in front of the other, right? So
Yeah.
I would do one little piece, one permit, federal permit, then a state permit, and then go back and do it again because it was wrong. And then just kind of went one foot in front of the other, which is why it took me, 6.5 years to get product out, because I didn't come from that world.
And that's a challenge just to get started.
Yeah.
I know the feeling, so it's not easy. So
Yeah, so Matt had a two different food businesses.
Yeah, one was
right?
a beef, and then I did a pickle business. And so that was a long time ago and a lot less gray hair. So
Yeah, I can say that too. I didn't have any gray hairs where I started.
The food world it's interesting.
So when you started, did you keep your day job, so to speak?
Yeah. I had my day job for the first 2.5, almost 3 years.
Okay.
I had to. So I was selling out of my truck. I was driving around in my truck with cases of tequila, literally cases in the back of the truck, going to liquor stores and restaurants, showing them a bottle, saying, I own a tequila company, would you like to try it? And that's, one store, then 2 stores, then 3, then 5. Now we're over 1,000 stores in multiple states, but that's how it started, which is me just driving around.
Okay, and where are you now besides Texas?
So we're Texas. We just recently rolled out into Colorado, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and we are rolling into New Mexico very soon.
Got you. And so when I go literally anywhere here, I'm not everywhere, but just, almost every restaurant or bar, at least the local ones, Tequila 512 is everywhere. Are you starting to pick up that presence in other areas?
Well, yeah, the goal has always been, and probably similar to your business, is win at home.
Yeah.
And the piece of advice that I got early on was, win a street, then win a block, then win a neighborhood, then win a city, and then kind of grow. So winning local has always been the goal. we're doing a pretty good job of it. Winning local is changing. Winning local was a neighborhood. Now winning local is the city, and winning local is quickly turning into a larger geographic area. So in our mind, as a company, winning local, it doesn't necessarily mean it's always your hometown. Winning local grows. That bubble is growing. That circle is growing. So winning local now for us is Central Texas all the way to San Antonio and spreading out. Soon, hopefully, winning local means the entire state, which we've been working on for a while now, and it's getting bigger.
Gotcha. So, what were like the things you wish you would have done differently when you started?
How long do we have?
Yeah, well, let's go with two things.
I mean, it's hard to say because, as you know, when you started your own business, is those things we did wrong probably led us in a better direction.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish we'd have maybe done some packaging adjustments earlier on, but again, if it had happened earlier, maybe we wouldn't be where we are now.
Yeah.
There's obviously some events and things we were involved in that didn't pay off that we're not doing now.
Yeah.
There's really no major ones because we're at the right distillery that's making award-winning tequila. We have award-winning packaging. We have great people that work for us. It's really hard to say we did something tremendously wrong, although the list is probably long.
Sure. So let's talk about that because you have, I think it's your Blanca, right? Tell us about we won a pretty big award with that. How did that happen?
Yeah, so our Blanco tequila, our initial one you'll see here. This one, when I was still working at home, it was just kind of selling out of the car still at the time. We entered the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Biggest competition you can win in our industry. Entered it, and we won double gold and best in show. So we won double gold, which is one of the top ones you can win, which Tito won for his vodka. Went on to the final round and won best in show. So making us literally that year we won the best Blanco tequila in the world. Yes.
So, but the big, I think what's important here is is it a blind test, right?
100% blind taste test from the best spirits palates in the country. They fly them into San Francisco, completely blind tasting over the course of 3 days. Mm-hmm. They don't need to see the brands till the end. At the very end, they walk into a big room and they can see all the brands that they voted on, and they can finally see who won best and worst and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really big validation for us and really turned the tide for the company.
Yeah.
Validated what we knew was we always thought we had a good tequila. It really validated that. It really took us into the rebranding, the new hires we had, the funding we were able to bring in. All those things really happened after that.
Yeah. So you got like major attention from that.
Oh
right?
yeah, big time attention.
Yeah, and we talk about we're in a point right now with our business where we're trying to scale, and that's been like a pretty scary thought for my wife, and it's the way I look at it. We're not trying to scale so that we're like making more money or doing more. I mean, that obviously that's always a goal, but it's almost like a scale to freedom, right?
Yeah.
And like you get to a point in your business where you're climbing that hill, and it's really, really hard, and you want to get to that spot where you're at the top, and where instead of going like this, it's like this, and the only way I know how to get there is to really scale to get there, because you work so hard. Promoting your brand, night and day, you're always on, and you want to get to a place where you finally have enough people, enough customers, enough people that are working for you that life becomes easier. And the way I think about it is once you get to that point and you have the right infrastructure, that's when you can really take a big breath and say, okay, now we can start to slow down because we got to that point. Is that kind of where you're at with it?
That's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're trying to get there. Like I did an interview with someone recently, and he said, "So, can you tell us what it feels like to be in a successful company?" And I said, "I'll call you." Because the carrot's always out there, and you always, the goal is moving forward. First, the goal was to have a bottle on one shelf.
Yeah.
Then you get on that one shelf, and you immediately go, "Wow, I need to be on more."
Yeah.
Then you're on 10 and 15 and 20, and then 20 needs to be 30. Now 30 needs to be 50. So you get consumed by this idea of this continual growth. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, there comes a point where I have some goals in mind that we want to reach, and we reach those milestones, and I can finally, I think, at that point take a deep breath. But at this point, it's full bore, straight ahead.
Yeah.
A lot of work to do.
Now, said you had an interview, so I guess the last couple of years, Austin's really become a growing epicenter of food companies.
Yeah.
I guess it kicked off with what's the jerky company? Epic.
Yeah, Epic.
Yeah, they're neighbors actually too. They live across the street.
Yeah, and you got the High Brew Coffee down the street, and then Hershey's is moving one of their independent brands here, and we're seeing a lot of growth. Are you seeing more support in the city for smaller food brands? Because I mean, it takes a lot of work to get a food business started off the ground and moving forward in the right direction, and help and mentorship and people you can talk to help.
Yeah, what's that atmosphere like?
Well, I mean, I can speak to the spirits industry specifically, and in Highbrew, that's part of that same group that produced Deep Eddy vodka and all that. That crew. There's a group of those people who started in liquor as well. I mean, in the liquor business, it's a tight knit group. We all know each other. We all speak. We all share ideas. Obviously, if it's another tequila brand, maybe not as much.
Right.
But the bourbon guys, the tequila guys, or the vodka guys, we all talk. It's been very supportive. And even the city of Austin themselves. So we have merchandise sold in the visitor center. So Visit Austin. It used to be the Austin Visitor Center. Now it's called Visit Austin. They sell our stuff, and they've reached out on multiple occasions about what can we do to help grow your brand. They do work with Tito. They do work with some local breweries and some other local brands. So the city of Austin itself is extremely supportive of consumer packaged goods and alcohol specifically.
That's good.
Okay.
I didn't know that. So yeah, that's great for the city.
Yeah,
they bring that support. So yeah.
And Austin's been as long as I've been here, which is over 20 years, it seems like not just the city or the municipalities, but like we like local things.
Yeah.
Like the big franchises typically don't do as well as a good local business. So I can't imagine that Austin's a great place to start a business.
And to validate that, when I had my companies, it was in a different city, and every city preaches they like local. That's not the case.
Yeah.
Most people just like cheap.
I mean, I say all the time, there's not many places that I could have done this.
But Austin,
and it worked.
The growth that I see in some of these small, brands in town and the people that support them, it's just outstanding. They, people here will pay more because you're not going to put out a crappy product.
Yeah.
Most of your smaller brands are always high quality.
Right.
They're always going to cost a little bit more, and the people in Austin will pay it because they want to support and they enjoy the product.
Well, the concept behind this is always, Tequila 502 has always been this kind of quality without the price point. So we've got a great price point, good quality, so without pretense is what we always say.
Yeah.
Which I think the city represents. And people that come here, they come here because of that. And people that visit here come to get a piece of that and take it with them. So in starting a brand here and attaching ourselves to the city, what we're hoping is, and it's proving to be true, is that people want a piece of the city. They love what Austin's about.
Yeah.
They're not from here, and they want to take something with them. So the idea is take some tequila with you and have
There
some
you go.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a sample here in a second, but tell us about So I remember when you got this office, and I think I am the second in our neighborhood. What do I call it? Most shameless promoter of my business.
You might be first.
No, I would love to take that title, but I don't have my truck wrapped like you.
Yeah, that's an aggressive move.
But I'd always say I absolutely would, but tequila is much more sexy than real estate, right? That's the only reason my truck is not wrapped, okay? But so the casita here is beautiful, and if you're watching this on YouTube, which it will be a replay, you're going to see some of our video of the place, and you've done a great job with this. How long have you been in this spot?
So this will be 2 years. 2 years next month.
Yeah.
So we did the rebranding, and we work with a local company called Butler Brothers.
Yeah.
And when we were doing the rebranding, they said, look, if you're going to, I was changing locations, and they said, if you're changing locations, think about getting something that represents the brand.
Yeah.
Right? And so, the idea came up to get a house or something that might kind of represent people, or represent the brand when people come to see you and they kind of swallow you up in the whole brand.
Yeah.
So we found this house, and it was, total junk, but it had a pool.
Yeah.
So we said, look, what's better with tequila than a pool? And
Yeah.
what represents our brand is
Sure.
really flip-flops and shorts and this Austin culture, really relaxed
Yeah.
vibe. And so we have this little house in South Austin, South First, so we're really kind of a pocket of Austin that still really represents what old Austin really used to be about, and
Yeah.
it still is in some places. It's about music. It's 2 doors down from the original Torchies, which
Sure.
is blowing up, another local Austin brand that's blowing up. And it's got a pool.
Yeah.
So we got this little house with 2 bedrooms, and we decked it out with the outdoor patio area and branded it everywhere. And we host events here. And we have parties here. Have you been to several of those?
Several. So sometimes we have family parties.
Yeah, on the weekends we come to swim here.
in the pool, right?
Yeah, it gives us a spot where I can have a meeting, or I can have a potential customer come by that can really be swallowed up and enveloped with the brand. And have it around. So I think it represents that. So people that watch this later will hopefully be able to see some shots of it and understand what I'm talking about.
Well, let's get to the good stuff. We want to do.
Okay.
I've seen you do this about a dozen times at least, but
Right.
I'm usually kind of in the background. I'm paying attention this time.
I've got you some and you some. I'm not
Okay.
drinking today. Right now, not on camera at least. So in all tequila tasties, I always recommend starting with the Blanco. So we've got from left to right the Blanco tequila, which is our award winner, double gold best in show winner. In the middle, we've got our Reposado. So to get the Reposado, all the color and all the flavor comes from whiskey barrels. So we use used bourbon barrels. We rest the tequila. This one is rested for 7 months. The one on the far right is going to be our Añejo tequila. The
Okay.
Añejo was rested for 13 months. Again, all the color, all the flavor comes from the barrels themselves. So you start with the Blanco, and the reason I say that is that's the original tequila. That's the basis for all the other representations that are in front of
And
you.
what was this aged for?
Not aged at all.
Okay, not aged
so
at all.
Blanco's not aged. It's a triple distilled, 100% agave. It's a Central Lowlands tequila.
Okay.
So we use traditional stone ovens to cook the piña or the agave. We use pot stills to produce it. Distilled 3 times. So to be tequila, it has to be distilled twice. We do one more extra distillation beyond that.
Okay.
Then it's filtered, and we use an oxygenation process, which helps with the mouthfeel of it as well. So that's the
Yeah,
award winner.
smooth. Yeah,
So,
I didn't get that bite.
yeah, so what you should taste is you should taste some pepper. You should taste some earthiness. You should get a little sweetness. Typically, the sweetness starts coming in after the second and third sip. So your mouth gets acclimated to the alcohol.
Wow.
Continue to sip it. I recommend smelling in between as well. You'll smell the agave sugars in the glass as well. The more you sip on it. So yeah, that's the big one. That's our big award winner. That's our horse. That's 80% of the business right there
Awesome.
in our Blanco. And then the second up is the Reposado.
Okay, so tell us about this, and like how long has this been out?
Reposado is about 2 years out now.
Okay.
This is our second batch. So we did a 9-month Reposado before, which has to do with what barrels we chose. This is a first run barrel. We used the barrels 3 times. So depending on what use the barrel is, it'll depend on how long we age it. That's one of the factors that determines
So
how
you're
long we
using
age
bourbon
it.
barrels, right?
All bourbon barrels in ours.
Any particular bourbon or just whatever gets shipped down?
No, I always tell people, so we buy big lots of bourbon barrels, and I tell people we could pick a specific distillery. If you do that and you don't put it on the bottle, then what's the point? If you do put it on the bottle, you're paying that distillery to use their name. So we stay away from that. We just choose barrels that we like, that look good, that smell right, that, it's kind of a feel. In some cases, we just go look at them and go, those look right, we're going to use those.
And
And
so,
we blend
so the
it.
barrels, like, do you just get them buy them from online, certain places you get them from?
So my distillery buys big lots, and they buy them by the truckload.
Okay, gotcha.
So bourbon can only use, or in bourbon country, they can only use their barrels once.
Oh, okay.
So bourbon has to be aged in unused American oak barrel, charred American oak barrels.
white oak comes
Right.
from the Ozarks of Missouri.
Exactly.
Yep.
Here you go. So they can only use it one time. So they got to do something with those barrels, right? They age them once, they get rid of them. Tequila buys a lot of those barrels. Tequila country buys a lot of those barrels.
So this
a
is
lot of them are aged in those.
13 months?
This is the 7-month
Oh,
age
7 months,
Reposado.
okay.
Reposado means
This is
rested.
nice.
So to be a Reposado, it has to be minimum 2 months in bourbon barrels, maximum of 12. So once it passes the 12-month period, it goes into the next aging range, which is the Añejo, which we'll try next. But
It's like a combination of my 2 favorite things, bourbon and tequila.
yeah, I'm a big bourbon
Cool.
fan also. So if I'm not drinking,
Me too.
if I'm drinking tequila, I'm drinking whiskey and bourbon
Yeah,
typically.
see,
Yeah.
Born in bourbon country, now live in tequila land.
Yeah.
Right. So last is our Añejo. So our Añejo is essentially if you let that Reposado sit for longer. This one's 13 months, so it's just over a year.
Yeah.
It gets more of the bourbon notes from the barrel. So essentially the barrel is pulling the tequila into the wood and pushing it back out, in and out as the weather changes, right? So heat, humidity, all those things affect it.
And so do you triple distill it before you age it?
Exactly. So it's
Okay.
this Blanco tequila that
Okay,
goes in
gotcha.
those barrels.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? And they just sits there. So all the color, all that comes from. Now it goes in at proof though. So it goes in at about 115% alcohol or 115 proof when it goes in the barrel. So it goes in those barrels at that high proof off the still.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get cut down until it comes out.
Okay.
So and I'd like to try some in a minute. I have some back there that hasn't been cut. Which you can try, I think. In the back.
What's it? Is it better or worse? Just more alcohol.
It's more alcohol.
Yeah.
So we say hot, and then she would say it's hot. So it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
But you can really get the true taste of the tequila when you taste it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And so why do you cut it though?
Well, because it is that hot. Right?
Okay, gotcha.
And you'll see a lot of bourbons as you're aware. You'll see a lot of bourbons that are 45, 46 that are higher proof. This comes out at 40.
Okay.
Okay, so come out at a 40%. That's kind of the standard go.
Okay,
You see
gotcha.
some tequilas that are a little bit higher, but to me it gets a little bit hot. So there's this balance between having enough alcohol in it, but also not being too hot where you can't really taste the tequila.
Yeah.
You want that good balance where you can get the flavor profile and all the nuances of it without
Yeah.
being too hot.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow, this is great. I love it.
Yeah, this is smooth.
And that's our newest. And that's pretty
Yeah.
limited. We've only
Yeah,
got
that's super smooth.
We got a very limited amount of that in Texas right now, and that's gone. We don't know when it's coming back, but so if you see it, buy some.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just realized I have a bottle of Tequila 512 at the house.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that wraps us up for the day. If you're watching this on YouTube as a replay, which would not be right now, but we're going to have a blog on Tequila 512 on our Spyglass page. It will be in the description, and you can read more, watch the video there.
You know what we should do, and this may be against the rules. You'll have to kind of overrule this, but if somebody's out, they're having some Tequila 512, put on your Instagram story, tag Spyglass or Tequila 512 and put interview or something like that.
Oh, please do, yeah.
And
please
maybe
do.
we'll send somebody a couple bottles of tequila.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's possible depending on the rate.
Yeah,
they can.
Yeah, Spyglass Realty will front 3 bottles for the shares. How about that?
But definitely tag us. You can definitely tag us.
So yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to make up those rules later, but 3 bottles are going away on Spyglass.
Yep, 3 bottles are getting given away. There you
go. All right, so cheers, guys.
Cheers. Scott,
cheers.
Thanks for having us here.
I'll try yours.
Beautiful office, and let's go wet.
All right, that's a wrap.